NATO has launched its largest military exercise since the collapse of the Soviet Union, mustering tens of thousands of troops in what the head of the Western Alliance called a strong display of its capability, unity, and resolve at a time of growing danger in Europe. The main phase of the exercise Trident Juncture, involving military forces from all 29 NATO allies, plus partners Finland and Sweden, and stretching from the North Atlantic to the Baltic Sea, began in Norway on October 25 and was scheduled to run for 2 weeks. NATO's Trident Juncture 2018. This is an important day because Trident Juncture is NATO's biggest exercise since the end of the Cold War, NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said ahead of the drills. The exercise is drawing criticism from Moscow amid persistent tension between NATO and Russia, which seized Crimea from Ukraine in 2014 and backs separatists in an ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine but accuses the alliance of provocative behavior near its borders. Another source of discord is what NATO says is Russia's deployment of a missile that violates a key US-Russian nuclear arms treaty and could potentially be used to target alliance members in Europe. Trident Juncture sends a clear message to our nations and to any potential adversary. NATO does not seek confrontation, but we stand ready to defend all allies against any threat, Stoltenberg told a news conference on October 24. The exercise is a strong display of our capabilities and our resolve to work together, he said. Without mentioning Russia by name, he said that Europe's security environment has significantly deteriorated in recent years and that NATO has responded with the biggest adaptation of our collective defense since the end of the Cold War. Trident Juncture demonstrates that adaptation. Trident Juncture will include around 65 ships, 250 aircraft, 10,000 vehicles, and 50,000 personnel, Stoltenberg said of the exercise, which will run in 2 phases. It is ambitious and it is demanding, he said. The live field exercise is set to run from October 25 to November 7, while a command post exercise is to follow between November 14 to 23. Moscow has frequently said that it views NATO's enlargement to include former Warsaw Pact countries and the Baltic states since the 1991 Soviet collapse as provocative, and Russia and NATO have repeatedly accused each other of aggressive action repeatedly in recent years. Russia held large military exercises called Zapad 2017, West 2017, in September 2017 in its western regions jointly with Belarus, which also borders several NATO countries, and last month conducted massive drills across its central and eastern regions. The Defense Ministry said the week-long Vostok 2018, East 2018 war games involved some 300,000 personnel, twice as many as the biggest Soviet maneuvers of the Cold War era. Speaking at a joint panel of the Russian and Belarusian defense ministries in Minsk on October 24, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said that the scale of NATO operational and combat training near our borders is expanding, its intensity is growing. The bloc's member states are practicing the objectives of conducting offensive combat actions. Despite criticizing the NATO exercise, Russia has accepted an invitation to send observers to Norway, a move that Stoltenberg welcomed in the name of transparency. As long as they behave professionally and avoid dangerous situations and behavior, I don't think that's a problem at all that they monitor the exercise, the NATO chief said. Describing the exercise, Stoltenberg said the personnel will be split into South Forces and North Forces that will take turns playing the role of the fictitious aggressor and the NATO defending forces. The exercise will test our readiness to restore the sovereignty of an ally, in this case Norway, after an act of armed aggression. This scenario is fictitious but the lessons we learn will be real, he said. Norway shares a short border with Russia in the Arctic. What does it take to defend, fight and survive in an Arctic environment? What do you do if you fall through the ice while wearing 20 kilograms of military gear? Cold Response 2022 is a long-planned exercise bringing together thousands of troops from NATO allies and partners, testing their ability to work together in cold weather conditions across Norway, on land, in the air and at sea. Over the coming weeks, Allied and partner armed forces will trek across the vast wilderness, conduct live fire drills, leap into freezing lakes, and much more. It's all about training vital skills, making sure that our armed forces are prepared to respond to any threat or crisis, and keep our countries and people safe. Cold Response 2022 is bringing together allies from Europe and North America, demonstrating the enduring transatlantic bond at the heart of NATO. Cold Response 2022 is a long-planned and regular exercise, which Norway hosts biannually. This year's exercise was announced over 8 months ago. It is not linked to Russia's unprovoked and unjustified invasion of Ukraine, which NATO is responding to with preventive, proportionate and non-escalatory measures. Exercises are important tools through which the alliance tests and validates its concepts, procedures, systems and tactics. More broadly, they enable militaries and civilian organizations deployed in theaters of operation to test capabilities and practice working together efficiently in a demanding crisis situation. Exercises allow NATO to test and validate concepts, procedures, systems and tactics. They enable militaries and civilian organizations deployed on the ground to work together to identify best practices, what works, and lessons learned, what needs improving. Exercises also contribute to improved interoperability and defense reform. NATO has recently boosted its exercise program in light of the changed security environment. Exercises are planned in advance and vary in scope, duration and form, ranging between live exercises in the field to computer-assisted exercises that take place in a classroom. To foster and support interoperability, NATO exercises are as open as possible to all formal partner countries. The alliance has been conducting exercises since 1951.